Welcome to the fourth video in section 2, Talking to an Actor. In the previous video, we created two actors, music player and music controller. In this video, we will take a look at the ways in which we can send a message to the actor, such as tell and ask, and take a look at their implementation. Let's begin. Messages are sent to an actor through one of the following methods. Tell, which is fire and forget. This means you send a message asynchronously and return immediately. In other words, you aren't interested in the result. Ask sends a message asynchronously and returns a future representing a possible reply. Let's express our use case that we will be implementing in this video to understand what's the difference between ask and tell. Imagine we are in the registration system and we want to implement the part that's responsible for adding users in the system. But we need to check before adding a new user to see whether he or she is blacklisted or not. Let's start by implementing three actors: recorder, storage, and checker. The recorder is the actor that is responsible for handling a new user message. When he receives a new user message, he will send a message to the checker to check whether this user is blacklisted or not. When the checker receives a check user message, he will check whether this user is in his list or not. If the user is in the blacklist, the checker will send a black user message to the recorder. And if the user isn't in the blacklist, the checker will send a white user to the recorder. When the recorder receives white user, he will send an add user message to storage. In our solution, the recorder sends two types of messages. A message for the checker to see if he is interested in the result, so this message will be asking. And another message is to storage in order to see if he is interested in the result, so this will be a tell. You can access the source code from this link. Let's start coding now. First, let's define a case class representing the user that contains the username and email. Then define our messages. New user, which contains the user instance. Check user message, which contains the user. And finally, the add user message, which also contains the user. Then, we need to define the checker response messages, black user and white user. Now, let's define a storage actor. This actor contains the user's list. When he receives an add user message, he adds a user in the user's list. Next, let's define the checker actor. This actor contains a blacklist. When he receives a check user message, he checks if this user is in the blacklist. And sends a black user message to the sender. And if the user isn't in the blacklist, he sends a white user message to the sender. The sender in this case is a method that returns the actor ref class that sends a message. Now, let's define the recorder actor. This actor handles the new user message. When he receives this message, he asks the checker about the new user. The ask method sends an asynchronous message and retains the future that will contain the result. We will map the result in case it is a white user. We will send an add user message to the storage via tell, as the recorder isn't interested in the result. Here is the object that extends the app. We will define the actor system and create our actors and send the new user for the recorder actor. Let's run the app now. Yeah, that's our printing message. Excellent. See you in the last video of section 2, Supervision and Monitoring, where we will be taking a look at the relationship between parent and child actors.